Gentlemen, we are back again. We are here again doing this Couch Champions Fantasy Football Podcast. So good to be with you boys again. What's going on, people?
Couch Champions in the house.
Couch Champions are definitely in the house right now.
Or in the car. Depends on where you're listening.
In the car.
In the gym.
On the toilet. You know, wherever you feel most comfortable.
I get a lot done on the toilet.
You know, sometimes you just need to, and I really am just letting this play out this time, you know, just because this is how we doing this.
That's good, man. Let it roll. Let it infect.
Yes, as the music fades. Gentlemen,
yes,
it's good to be back.
It's great to
As
be
always.
back.
It's good to be back. Theo Miller, Sander Sherman, and Sherlyn Cadet here to bring you the fantasy goodness that you have been waiting for your entire life. Yes.
Yeah.
You complete us. Just remember that.
Thank you so much. You're so special to us.
Yeah, okay. I was just making sure I wasn't talking to you. I was talking to the audience. Yeah. I don't really care about y'all fellas.
That's cool.
What's going on, Jen? So y'all, how's your week been so far, man?
It's going well, man.
Rough week, but you know, it's always great when you could talk football.
Hey, that's what fantasy football is for.
It's an escape.
Yeah,
You're right.
That's what it's for. Now you can take this next 45 to 50 minutes to just forget. And then after that,
Let it out.
go back to hell.
Back to life. Back to life.
Back to life. But yeah, we're so happy to have you guys with us again. Thank you once again, all the listeners, everyone that's viewing on YouTube. We appreciate your support. We appreciate your likes, your subscriptions, your comments, everything that you have given us, all the constructive criticism, all of the highlight reels. Just thank you for everything, and just thank you for being a part of this journey.
We appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
We are the Couch Champions. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Just search Couch Champions. And on YouTube as Couch Champions Fantasy Football Podcast.
Sir,
Let's get into it.
let's do it.
So I told you guys, you know, generally speaking, you know, we do a little show doc together and we go over the things that we're going to do. Today we are going to be talking about the AFC North for one.
Mm-hmm.
But before we do that, I told these guys that, you know, let's play a little game first. You know, let's limber up. Let's prepare for this battle that we're about to have as we go into to dive into the AFC North and figure out where to squeeze out that good fantasy value.
Is it something I can win again?
Have you ever won anything?
Anyway, let's go on.
Not really sure about that. But okay, this is a game I am dubbing Hot Boy the Vibe, Slunk on the Vibe, or Things for Sale.
All right.
Okay.
All right. So basically, Hot Boy the Vibe means you want it. Give me that.
Okay.
I this is a take that I agree with.
Okay.
Slunk on the Vibe means get it away from me. I ain't into it. I slunk in on that. I ain't really trying. I ain't feeling that.
Okay.
Things for sale
Okay.
means I am trying to trade this vibe. I trying to barter the vibe. I trying to give this to someone else and get something back.
Hot boy, slunk, and what's the last one?
Things for sale.
Things for sale.
Thanks for
Okay.
sale.
So Things for Sale is the Bohemian Marketplace on Facebook, by the way. That's
Right.
that's the reference. The other two, I'm just gonna leave it to the audience. You're smart enough to understand where that come from.
I'm so intrigued. Let's get this going.
Let's get on to it. All right. So I'm gonna give you guys a list of takes. So it's gonna be a mixture of different takes and rankings of players, and y'all tell me which out of the three that y'all tell me what y'all are gonna do with that take. And then in another instance, I'll give y'all three players and y'all tell me which one you can hot boy, which one you can slunk on, and which one is going to Things for Sale.
All right.
Okay.
All right. So first one we're gonna start off is Raheem Mostert. And this take is Raheem Mostert is the most valuable running back in the 49ers backfield for the whole 2021 season.
That's Things for Sale. And do I need to expound?
Expound.
Sell it.
Well, he definitely is for sale because he's a buy low. Like if he's out there unavailable, yeah, give me some Raheem Mostert. The games that he is going to start, the games that he's healthy, I'll put him in a flex. But to talk about valuable, like I going out to get him or spending the draft capital on him, no. And then second with that, there's a nice little rookie that I think is nipping on his tail, Sermon. I think it's only a matter of time before he takes it over.
Yeah, I don't think Raheem has that number one spot locked up in any shape or fashion.
I would agree.
I think it can be had.
I would agree.
Because I mean, it's a committee, and the 49ers backfield is not like everyone will have an opportunity,
and it's always been a committee,
right?
It's but the sad part is that the whoever is good is really good.
Agreed.
That is the sad part about the 49ers backfield, because whoever ends up being the guy for that game, listen, just lock it in. You got it. You gonna have a good game.
Yeah,
but the carousel is definitely where you experience the issues.
Yeah, that's a thing for sale though.
Yeah, I can say slunk on it, but pretty much the same thing. Yeah, I wouldn't buy that.
Well,
Mostert is 20. Is how old? He's decrepit in running 28. Back ears.
Right.
Yeah.
But
AKA,
not to linger on it. I bought Raheem Mostert in Dynasty for 2 third-round picks. And I have Sermon. Do you think that was an overpay or what? What do you think?
2 third-round picks, I think is good. That's a good. That's that. I when you made the trade, I thought it was a good trade.
Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. Okay. All right.
Especially considering you have Sermon already. So.
And I have Sermon. Okay. Cool.
All right. Let's go to the next take. This one is going to be between 3 players, and y'all can tell me which one of these players y'all hot buying, which ones y'all slunking, and which ones y'all taking the things for sale.
Okay.
We got Keenan Allen, DK Metcalf, and Justin Jefferson.
Wow. Could you have made it any harder?
You want to go first?
Who you hot buying? Who you slunking on? Who going to things for trade?
Metcalf, Jefferson, and
Keenan Allen.
Any format?
Okay.
Any format?
Let's say PPR.
Okay. I would hot boy Metcalf.
Yeah.
Slunk on Keenan, and thanks for sale Jefferson.
Okay. Any particular reason?
I would thanks for sale Jefferson because his value is extremely high right now. He had a great rookie season. No telling if he can repeat that for his sophomore year, but you could get a lot for him. Keenan is Keenan. He kind of been the same player for the last 5 years. And I think of all them, Metcalf has the highest ceiling.
Okay.
I would let me see. Thanks for sale. I would thanks for sale Metcalf because he has a lot of value and I think I could get a lot back for him. Jefferson, I would probably what's it is? Slung on? No,
that means AKA you would, if you had to drop him. That means
only because I want a hot boy, Keenan Allen, with that new boy Herbert, and him being that reliable target, PPR standard, like even though he's older, I would love to have me some Keenan Allen in redraft. I think he's gonna have a great year. So I'll hot boy Keenan and slunk on Jefferson just because.
That's an interesting take.
Right.
I do, but I think it's the right one. For reference, I do feel like Justin Jefferson has a bit of that shine on him. That rookie, he had that crazy rookie season.
Yeah.
Breaking all the records, doing all these things, and I think people are putting Justin Jefferson a bit too high. I think it's a little too high right now. So yeah, definitely. If again, I'll answer the question too. I think I would also think for sale Justin Jefferson because of that value.
Right.
You know, a lot of people are, you know, ranking him above tried and true, you know, years tested wide receivers that we know can do it multiple years. And so I take that value.
Yeah.
Take that value, and I'd slunk on TK, and I hot boy Keenan.
Okay.
TK, I'm definitely has a whole lot of value. I mean, listen, these three amazing wide receivers, so it's a tough decision in any regard.
I mean, I feel like any way you do this, you're really losing.
Yeah.
It's just preference.
Yeah, because I mean, the one little caveat I'll have to make is just that, you know, Seahawks have talked about a rededication to running the ball this season, and we saw some inconsistency coming to the end of last season, definitely in that receiving core. So give me Keenan Allen, still the main guy, with the young Herbert slinging the ball. Yeah, I'll take that. One more. Uno más. So this one is a bit of a deeper dive.
Okay.
So let's see how much you guys are paying attention right now. Okay. We got Devontae Parker going at 1108 right now. Pretty much non-existent. Right? We got Devontae. So we got Devontae Parker, Marquise Brown, or Tyler Boyd.
And it's the same thing, hot boy and then Parker, Boyd, and
Marquis
Brown.
And Hollywood.
It's no trash for Hollywood. I want to say I would things for sale Hollywood, but what can you get back for him? So I would slunk on Hollywood.
I would slunk Hollywood as well.
I would slunk on Hollywood. I would try to sell things for sale Boyd. And what was the last option again?
You keep Devontae Parker, and you would you hot boy Devontae Parker.
I think I hot boy Devontae Parker, even though there's some young talent coming in there. I think he could be a number 2/number 1 still. There's still value there. So out of these choices, I think I would hot boy Parker.
This one is kind of a toss up as well. Well, not for Hollywood. I would definitely slunk on him. He could kick rocks. But I mean the argument can be made for both Parker and Boyd.
Right.
Like I trust Burrow more at quarterback than I do Tua.
Right.
But the Dolphins have a better team than the Bengals do.
That's true.
So it's kind of a tough one. I guess I would offer them both up and see who garners more response.
You just put it on the marketplace.
Yeah, but that's a tough one.
See there?
What's your thoughts, Theo?
Stomping. My thoughts are, you know, this one definitely. Marquise Brown is someone I've been hoping and praying for the return for years and years now, and the young man has let me down one time too many.
Yeah.
This is man.
So yeah, but the thing about it is, I don't know. I mean, I really don't know. Is there any way I could capitalize on any kind of little bit of value left on Hollywood? Because I mean, what am I gonna get for Devontae Parker? I'm keeping Tyler Boyd, but I'm a hot boy Tyler Boyd.
Okay.
Just because I do believe in his role in that offense. I don't think, even with the additions, I think he's still the slot guy. I think he's still gonna get his.
Yeah.
Devontae Parker and Marquise, I'm still just so unsure about Tua, and you know, so with name value, I guess I gotta slunk on Marquise, and I'll thanks for sale Devontae Parker. hopefully the name value still can get me something.
Okay. I still think Parker could do something.
Fair enough.
All right, so that's the game. How y'all like it?
Awesome
Good
game.
stuff, bro.
Yeah, some tough decisions.
But
That's what I bring. I bring the tough decisions. You got to bring the drama.
I'm happy those aren't decisions I have to make in real life.
No, seriously.
Yeah. Unfortunately, all we have is just the real life decisions with our teams, which we all know aren't necessarily easier.
No.
But all right. Let's hop on to this AFC North division breakdown.
Woo!
You know, at some point I'm gonna start to work on some music for these because we need something to bring in these things. The hype is ain't enough. I need someone sing, man.
You after you.
We don't want people to click off the video.
But that's coming. Don't worry about that. But Chance, who should we start off with? I feel like I was picking all who we started last year. Tell me who we starting off with.
I'll start with the Steelers. Can we start with the Steelers?
Start with the Steelers. All right.
I'll start with the Steelers.
Kick it off, man.
So let's start with Big Ben. Presently ranked the 16th. Why are you shaking your head, Glenn?
It had nothing to do with Big Ben.
The facts are the facts, and I went to the time to dig up the facts, and I have some of the facts. He's presently ranked the QB 16, and that's right in the middle because he was an average quarterback last year. He didn't win you any. He might won you 1 or 2 weeks, but he didn't lose you any weeks. Averaged about 300 yards per game and about 2 touchdowns. Like something off the waiver wire.
It ain't, but I see Big Ben as a streamer.
Definitely is.
I think he's gonna have. I definitely think he's gonna have his valuable weeks.
Yes.
Yeah. He's a matchup quarterback. If you have good matchups, you're gonna want to think about playing him.
Yeah, I mean for years, because remember the thing about Ben is the home road splits. He was terrible on the road. I think that was the thing.
Yeah.
But that's evened out. But last year, it was his first year back recovering from that elbow, and he threw for 3,800 yards and 33 touchdowns. And so, but let's talk about his receivers: Diontae Johnson, Juju Smith-Schuster, Chase Claypool, and this is a running back who I'm going to talk about. But let's talk about the actual receivers. Who I like the most here is Diontae Johnson. I like him out of sheer opportunity. He commands a 31% share of wide receiver targets. So basically, a third of the times that ball goes up in the air, that's going to Diontae. What I don't like, and I think everybody knows about it, is his drops. He led the league in drops.
Yeah.
So
he got benched.
Yeah,
he got benched mid-game.
He got benched for his drops.
If he could tone that down.
And that's pretty much my point. I still see him as the lead dog in the wide receiver room. And why? The coaches see something in him, in his ability to separate. Even though he drops ball, he separates. In his rookie year, in the red zone, he had 45% share in red zone targets. Even if he drops a few of those, a touchdown is worth a lot of points. And so having Diontae Johnson as your wide receiver 3 or flex, I think you good there. The other receivers are Juju Smith-Schuster, who's up and down. He had a very volatile year. Also, Chase Claypool, he had like a nice 4-game stretch, but he pretty much leveled off later in the year. But a disruptor this year for Pittsburgh is going to be Najee Harris, who's a running back. But he is going to catch some targets. Pittsburgh ranked bottom of the league in passes to the running back last year. Why? They didn't have any pass catching running backs. They had terrible.
No, I mean they didn't have any. They didn't have any running backs. Let's just be honest.
They had a terrible offensive line, and basically the Le'Veon Bell role that they normally relied on was not there. Najee Harris, in his first 2 seasons, he only had 6 passes, 6 catches, and then 4 catches in his first 2 years. In his last 2 years, he jumped up to 27 passes, and then finally 43 passes for 425 yards. And so the pass catching is something he's been working on and he's been excelling on. And for this offense that Le'Veon Bell role that used to work for Pittsburgh, the reason why I think they brought Big Ben back is to utilize that. And so I'm very, very, very up on Najee Harris and Diontae Johnson. You know, back in the day when it was the Killer Bees, the Browns, it was basically Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell. And I think this year they're going to go back to that same formula. That's my outlook for Pittsburgh this year.
I do think Najee's in a very good position,
right?
Especially with an aging quarterback. I mean, Ben can't sling it all the time like he used to.
Or run.
So quick little dump off to the running back.
Right.
Najee should have a full belly every game.
I agree.
Oh yeah. That's one of the most exciting things about Najee this year. Looking at it, I mean, in terms of the running back falling positions is there's not much. You can't get much better than go into an offense that loves to have a bell cow, which is a dying breed in the league.
Agree.
And so Najee coming in there, definitely looks like the biggest slam dunk of the whole thing. Like of all players and the rookie players, it's like if this one don't work out, man, I don't know. I don't know
what
we
believe in fantasy football anymore.
I don't know what we'll do. But before we get off for them, I just want to do a quick check on this Diontae Johnson love, Sherlin. Just want to do a quick check. Right now, Diontae Johnson is going in the 5th round, 6th pick of the 5th round, right? Wide receivers going around him are Cooper Kupp and Kenny Golladay.
Give me some Diontae Johnson.
You take Diontae over both of them?
That opportunity as the lead dog for Pittsburgh. That opportunity.
What about the defense? What about the defense of Pittsburgh? Are you worried that good defense is going to hinder maybe the amount of passing that happens in that offense?
Maybe a little bit, but at the same time, Big Ben is still a gunslinger, even though his gun has a little rusty.
Mm-hmm.
I still depend. Yeah, I still think that he can throw that ball up. And like I said, even though Diontae drops balls, they depend on Diontae. So that's a sure bet for me. I'll take him.
Okay. All right. For me, it'll be Cooper Kupp. FYI.
Okay.
Well, let's keep the ball rolling, man. Let's keep moving on.
Okay.
I'll pick the next one. I think let's talk about the Browns.
Let's talk about them Browns.
Let's talk about the Browns.
The Browns.
The Browns is that team that...
Didn't you say the Browns is going to be the Browns and then they browned on him?
Exactly. Brown all over him. So he ain't dancing on no more logos after they do what they finish with him.
No.
Browns, I think the Browns is an interesting situation. I think the Browns are one of those teams this year that I feel like it's so hard to get a take on a lot of their players. Like we know what they do. We've seen this particular offensive scheme 2 years now. We know what they want to do and what they're trying to do. And in terms of the running backs, that's a lock. Nick Chubb is going to Nick Chubb. He's going to run. He's not going to get a whole lot of passes, but we don't really care about that because dude is a beast.
Yeah.
And he just runs through. Yeah. He gets the yardage.
I think he missed 4 games and he still had 1,000-yard season. That's incredible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Nick Chubb. And, the thing but who I wanted to talk about a little bit more was Kareem Hunt because he is that second running back in that offense, and a lot of times we look at the second, the running back in the next running back in the offense, the backup, and we are not able to decipher value. But this is one of those strange situations where Kareem Hunt is actually someone, if you can get him at the right place, someone that you really want to have on your team.
One of the few backups that you can actually plug and play.
Yeah, it's like they have 2 RB1s.
Seriously?
Right. Seriously. Now we know that Chubb is the lead dog there, but Kareem Hunt is definitely no slouch. The consensus 28 running back right now, and he has had a rush share of about 45.8% and a target share of 11, which is pretty good for a running back.
That's crazy for a backup running back.
Especially and for a backup running back, that's almost insane. Kareem Hunt, we all knew him on the Chiefs. We all knew, he was that one for the Chiefs. But so we all know he has the talent. And if Chubb ever goes down,
he's plugging.
You got a locked and loaded guy. So definitely the best handcuff, I think, to own.
Yep.
How do you feel about the quarterback and wide receiver room? I think those are one of the hardest to project because they switched for me. I was off of them until the final quarter of last season, and then I was like, where'd these guys come back?
Yeah, it's interesting because we were having a discussion about Odell before we started recording tonight, and it's just such an interesting place he's in right now because here's the thing, I think there's a general stinky feeling, there's just sardines in the air when you think about Odell. It's just no one, you ain't really, he has the name, he has the value, we know what he's done in the past, but he just has not been able to put it together with Baker.
Right.
No.
Even with Baker, a lot of people have been burned by Baker as well. He came out scorching hot and then let you down.
Yeah, I mean, I believe that if you can get Odell at the right position, he's still a good player to have on your team. If I was someone that was drafted, Odell's going in the 5th round right now, by the way. So it seems as though he's going, but he's going around till closer to the end of the 5th round.
That's not
still a little too high for me. I am one of those burned people.
If I could have Odell as a wide receiver 3,
I would take him as a wide receiver 3.
I think listen, Odell Beckham is a great. He's a great NFL player. He's a great NFL wide receiver. We know he can do it.
That's exactly what I'll tell people when I'm trying to sell him.
As an unburnt, the 5th round is good for Odell.
You think?
I think so. I think I would like to have Odell in the 5th round.
Especially if you pick him up as your 3rd wide receiver.
Come on, man.
Spot to take
what
him.
I hate.
I know there's been burn happening, but if those burns have happened mostly by injury, right, Sheldon?
Yeah, they have, and I found it out when I looked through the numbers. But the one year I did have him, I literally did not know when to play him, and of course, the time I benched him, he scored I think 4 touchdowns or something, and like a return or something.
But that's fantasy, bro.
Yeah, it is fantasy. But it's just, I hate those high draft name, high value name persons who you look like a fool not starting that you have to start.
I got you.
Right. So I would rather go for somebody with low potential who surprises me than a big name that lets me down. That's me.
Fair enough.
You prefer to play the consistent person over the every now and again you give me a big game.
Exactly. And we've seen that Baker forces the ball to Odell. There was a stat I pulled up in his first game last year. He got 10 targets. Great. Excellent. He only caught 3 of those balls. So 7 times, those were balls that maybe should not have even been thrown in the first place. Targets don't score me points. They're a good indicator, but it's a little too high for me. I'm too burnt on Odell.
That's fine. Anything to talk about in this tight end room?
Austin Hooper is a safe tight end to have.
Yeah, that's the only thing I wanted to mention is that I think don't forget about Austin Hooper. That's basically all.
I feel like that's been Austin Hooper's entire career. Like you
don't forget about me,
that
guys.
He exists, but he.
I'm a tight end too.
he's a pretty solid player. Like you could plug him in and play him every week, and he'll get you points. But he just doesn't have that name recognition. You're like, oh, Austin Hooper's still on the board. Let me grab him.
Right.
Yeah.
He's more of a. I don't have no one else. All right, I'll pick up Austin Hooper.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he definitely doesn't have that shine, but tight ends is not a shiny position unless you have Travis Kelce.
You're right.
Maybe Darren Waller.
So do you think, last question on the Browns, do you think that their hot streak that they got on at the end of last season, do you think that's going to carry over into the new year automatically, or do you think they have to build up to that? Like, do you think they have it or not? With Odell coming back.
I think they found the groove, but that's the piece. How does Odell fit into what they created at the end of the season?
Yeah. Right. They made some big moves on defense this offseason.
Yes.
It's really going to be interesting to see how that plays out. If that defense is even better than it was, because they didn't have a bad defense last season. They had a pretty much above a big, better than average defense last year.
Right.
But if that defense can take it the next step, I think we'd be looking at them in the postseason again.
I think so too.
And also, if that defense does take another step, then that's even better for Chubb and Hunt.
Mm-hmm.
Because now if we control in the game, ain't no reason to sling the ball all day.
No reason to run.
And it appears they're trying to keep the game out of Baker's hands in terms of having him decide if they win or lose.
So far, it's been a pretty smart bet.
Yeah. So. Yeah,
right.
I guess before we move on, any thoughts on Jarvis?
Well, PPR machine for me.
Jarvis is just, I mean, let's see, this is how we almost missed him, because Jarvis is just,
he's just consistently
you take Jarvis, but the thing is, you can miss him though. So I mean, it's good that you brought, even in your drafts, you can miss him. Mm-hmm. I think Jarvis is someone that everyone should be striving to get as their wide receiver 2/3.
2 is a little rich for me.
I don't know about 2.
Yeah.
If I have him as 3,
listen, if you have guys, if you have Jarvis Landry as your wide receiver 2, think about the running backs that you have in your offense. If you always have to remember that you are constructing a team. So I believe, let me just vet right now. I believe Jarvis is going in the 7th round right now.
That's good.
So if you had gotten Travis Kelce, one stud wide receiver, and then taking the next 3 running backs who are available to you, and then you take Jarvis Landry. I mean, he's consistent. He has a consistent floor.
No, he does.
He does.
He does.
It's not shiny. It's not sexy.
And that's the thing about the entire Browns team. You're not excited about anybody on the Browns.
No, except Chubb. But even Chubb, sometimes you're looking at running backs around him, it's like, right. Chubb is good. Chubb is good. But even I have been in some drafts where Chubb was available to me, and I don't just jump on it because it's like,
you're right.
What you can give me, but it still is not the sexiest running back pick.
We need to start a Hugger Brown campaign this year because they need some love.
Because I have Chubb and I love him, but it's only because he's my running back 3.
When Chubb is a running back 3, listen, and tell the people it's dynasty now before people.
This dynasty.
Yeah.
When Barkley went down, I had him as my running back 2. It wasn't as sexy as. Oh, I wasn't as excited when I had him as my running back 3. So
right, but
I'm sure I guess that's just the whole Browns team. He did do well.
Yeah, we need to start a campaign. Browns need some love. So
they need to rehabilitate the image. That's their problem.
That's
true.
Someone
light a candle for the Browns right now.
Rebrand the Browns.
Rebrand. See, look at you, but rebrand the Browns. Rebrand. All right, let's move on, man. Y'all stop talking about the Browns, the factory of sadness.
Let's move on to the Baltimore Ravens.
Okay. This team is the most exciting team in this division, I think.
I think we should hear from Theo first,
Theo, I
considering he
think let's
just
hear
made
from
a
Theo.
trade for a running back from the Ravens.
Yes, I did. I just traded for J.K. Dobbins.
Okay.
Yeah, but the Ravens, as I said before, I think is a very interesting team to break down. You have Lamar Jackson, J.K. Dobbins, Hollywood Brown, Rashad Bateman, and Mark Andrews as the guys that you want to talk about for fantasy.
How dare
but the
you
issue
forget about the Lizard King?
Moving right along.
Moving along. Did you see the pass
Sammy Watkins is there, but
that he caught?
Who's that?
Say again.
Apparently, the Ravens. Well, they did a highlight video of camp today, and it was one of the most wobbliest passes Lamar.
Oh yes, I saw that. I was like, oh my god. You saw when the guy was like, y'all couldn't find a better.
Seriously.
No, definitely the Ravens are an interesting case. We know Lamar Jackson is a beast. He's in the consideration of the early quarterbacks that you take, that you don't take, that you want to take, but because he has a rushing floor. He has that rushing floor that has established pretty much all of the quarterbacks before. Cam Newton is the running quarterback, but I guess Mike Vick is the running quarterback, but as we go on, Lamar Jackson is now that torchbearer for that offense. And honestly, the more I look at it, I think I'm getting more and more excited for Lamar Jackson as well.
What?
Really?
I think, I think Lamar Jackson. Not to say that, I want to take him where he is being drafted, because he is still, he's being drafted right now at the, he's being drafted in the 6th round.
Oh, that's not
bad. That's not bad. I have seen him go higher. And he will definitely go higher in, as we get closer to the season. But if I were to be able to take Lamar Jackson in the 6th round, I think that would be a steal.
Okay. Outside of Lamar and the running game, what about the passing game, if you want to call it that?
Yeah, the passing game for the Ravens is a bit of a toss-up, and that's no pun intended.
That's a great
outside of Mark Andrews, nothing really.
Yeah,
even the thing. Mark Andrews is.
This team is a running team, but they want to throw the ball more.
They do.
The Harbaugh at the end of last season said that they're going to make a rededication towards the pass in the off season.
I also feel like Lamar wants to be a passing quarterback as well. He wants to be more than just a running quarterback.
I think so too.
Can that happen? That's another story. But with Harbaugh saying they want to commit to passing, I think they're going to really try it, because that's what Lamar wants. His whole thing from he came in the league was, I'm not just a running back.
Seriously.
So I think they're going to make an honest attempt at having a serious passing game this season.
Yeah. Outside of Mark Andrews, I am very afraid of anybody on the Ravens. Even in Dynasty, I passed up on Rashad Bateman, who I considered, in the earlier podcast, one of the most NFL ready rookies that came into the league, and I passed on them because I just can't depend on them actually throwing the ball. And with the amount of times Lamar Jackson calls his own number, there are guys out there, throw them the ball, please. But I am hopeful that the system changes this year, and we've seen that Lamar has the tools to do it. It's just they have to commit to it.
Yeah, I just wonder. I still believe that Hollywood Brown is a great wide receiver. I still believe that he can provide you with a certain level of boom games, and I am not necessarily of the belief that he is absolutely trash right now, as some people will have you believe.
Here's what I think. I think he's flashed enough to show that he can do it.
Right.
but I think there wasn't much options in that receiving team to take enough attention off of him. Right. He can't be a Julio Jones. He's not a Julio Jones. He can't just go up and bully people for the ball.
Mm-hmm.
But if there's enough other targets to kind of take some of the pressure away from him, I think he can get back to what he was and have those boom games like you said.
Yeah. I mean, listen, where you're drafted Marquise Brown right now, you can definitely have him as a wide receiver 3. Wide receiver 4. Someone that
for
is
somebody else.
I feel like you could steal a lot of these wide receivers for the Ravens.
Yeah.
That's the thing about it.
But the fantasy football is about trying to get you. We are trying to figure out what's going to happen, right? So it's better to be early than to be late.
I agree.
Because I would say take a shot on one and take a shot on one.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
You don't have to draft any of their wide receivers high this year.
No.
I agree.
The highest per player that you have to draft on this team is J.K. Dobbins and then Mark Andrews. After that, everyone else you can get in the double-digit rounds.
Yeah, they can get it together. That could be any one of those could be a steal if they step up.
Listen, it could be.
I do feel like their wide receivers are ones to keep an
Sammy
eye on.
Watkins.
No, you don't want him because he only can play good in the first game.
No. Let the record show that when we talk about the wide receivers of this team, you're not talking about Sammy Watkins.
Now I will say, if you want to pick up Sammy and play him the first game only.
Oh, that's true. Xander, you have a point. I forgot about that.
Or Super Bowl. Was it another game? He had a big game, a playoff game.
Yeah, I think it was a Super Bowl too. I don't know. Yeah, but first game of the season. The Lizard King.
He's ball out.
Listen, Godzilla.
I've also heard, and take this with a grain of salt because this is of course just OTAs, but there's chatter of Devin Duvernay.
Oh, I've heard that chatter.
I've heard. So it's a name to watch, but of course this is when people hype up people who should not be hyped. So
first game of the season. Something you need the guys that are first game guys. First game of the season. You watch their game. You see what the game plan is for the season. If they're involved, great. If they're not, in the trash.
I feel like these, especially during these training camps and mini camps and all this stuff, you wanna listen to chatter, watch these players, and especially in preseason. Look to see if they, maybe they have a little spark here or there and they sitting on the waiver. You have a space to hold somebody.
Right.
You can pick them up and see if it pans out.
And you know what? We got to count our blessings this year because there will be a preseason. That's something we missed out on last year.
Exactly.
Yeah. 2 games, right?
I think so.
I think we're getting a 2-game preseason this year. So definitely something to watch out for.
Before we move on, just to build on my point about watching people in the preseason, that's how I ended up with Lamar Jackson.
Okay.
Nobody drafted him. I watched him in preseason. I was like, well, he looked like he have a little something there. And I just picked him up off a whim, I think in week 2.
Right.
And then he just blew up after that.
Okay. You got that gem.
It's the only time that's happened.
All right. Let's get to the last team here in this AFC North discussion. The Cincinnati Bengals. You know what? The Cincinnati and let me just start off by saying I don't know why I've seen faces from both of you right now because this is the most interesting the Cincinnati Bengals have ever been.
We've been trained from years of mediocrity to not expect.
The Bengals have been mediocre for so long. They are finally there's something worth talking about on this team.
No one was ever excited to talk about the Bengals. So you have to kind of retrain your brain to be like, okay, they actually want something now.
Woosah.
But the Bengals actually they have a very deep team right now, especially in that wide receiving core with new rookie Jamar Chase, Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins. We know and no tight ends to really speak of.
Not a single.
There's a chance that the 3 of these guys can
insulting CJ Uzomah.
Really?
Come on, Drew Sample. Really? Give him a little bit of respect now. Come on.
What respect for what?
I think
what respect?
He was on the field a lot, but he didn't do much.
I saw a lot of chatter about him being a breakout this year, but
Okay.
What did we just say about Chatter? What did we just say about Chatter?
That's true. I just have to. It's a slow news cycle.
My whole thing is, if you have Jamar Chase, Tyler Boyd, and T. Higgins, then why not be running 3 wide receiver sets just
I agree.
all the time?
You ain't really focusing on tight ends.
But that's what makes the Bengals a little bit dicey for me this year. In our league, I had T. Higgins last year, who was a big breakout for me, and he did well. He was, I would call him the wide receiver 1 last year. But with the addition of Jamar Chase, there's a lot of mouths to feed. For fantasy, I actually traded him away, and I think I made the
dynasty.
right. And I think I made a good decision. I'm not saying he's gonna regress or not be a good receiver, but there's a lot of mouths there to feed, and I don't know which one it's gonna be.
No, I mean that's a smart bet.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, whenever you have these fields that have just that it's going to be a decision every week as to whether or not one guy can shake out and get himself the targets that he needs to be relevant.
Right.
It's usually better to try and make a move before anything plays out, because it's too much of a toss up. You could win, it's very possible that Jamar Chase doesn't. I mean, it's possible that he doesn't translate to the NFL.
Yeah.
And T. Higgins is the one. And then, but the odds of that are not as good as whether or not you just make a move on a guy that you already have a little bit more confidence in.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good move. But with the running backs, we have Joe Mixon and Samaje Perine. Y'all remember Samaje Perine?
I remember
the Redskins. Yeah.
Right.
Giovanni Bernard is finally out of there after all these years. Giovanni Bernard, the bane of
existence.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember the running back before that their starting running back before not before Joe Mixon. Jeremy Hill.
Yes.
Jeremy Hill.
Right.
Yes. I remember owning Jeremy Hill and just hating Giovanni Bernard because he would just come in.
Vulture.
Just steal all the Giovanni Bernard's good. I mean, Jeremy Hill's good touches. But Joe Mixon, I think, is an interesting prospect this year. And I think he's a candidate for breakout.
I've never owned Mixon.
Neither have I.
And I don't think I ever will. I just don't trust him. For some reason, I don't trust him.
I ain't nothing about you. I have that nagging untrust of him, and I don't know why, but I just don't trust him.
And I can't even say why, because when it was a bad team with no passing, I didn't get any production. I didn't see any production from him.
Joe Mixon he's been plagued by injuries. He's been plagued by a lot of injuries early in the season. But you have to remember, Joe Mixon is still only 24 years old, which is, for a running back, is getting close to middle age, but not quite there yet.
Right.
He has maintained a 90.2% share of that backfield. Guys, Joe Mixon is a part of the dying breed of workhorse running backs. He is. And with Giovanni Bernard out of there, he's gonna have more work than he has ever had.
I will give you that. It stands to reason that he would have a breakout season, considering the sheer amount of wide receivers they have to take away defensive attention, and with Gio Bernard being gone, so he don't have to worry about vulturing. So he should be better. The only concern I would see is whether or not they fix that O-line and his injuries.
Yeah. Well, the O-line is definitely a concern. But if you're getting a certain amount of work, and you are good, sometimes you can negate that. Listen, Joe Mixon, I would be very uncomfortable with as my RB1, but if I can get him as RB2, I'd love it.
RB2, yeah.
So basically, what I'm saying is that if you can, Joe, I don't know if you'll be able to get Joe Mixon as an RB3, but I think
strange things.
If you're good, that's a steal.
You could put him in a package too, Because where's he going? What's his ADP right now? Sorry if I'm putting you on the spot.
No. His ADP is second round, fourth pick of the second round.
No, that's
okay,
way
you
too high.
ain't.
That's way too that's way too high for me.
I don't
Well,
think you'll be able to
I don't
get.
know. Yeah. See, I don't know.
I don't think you'll be able to get Joe Mixon as an RB3 in redraft.
You cannot.
Okay.
You cannot.
You would have
That's
to.
what I'm saying.
Only
Joe
in
Mixon,
Dynasty.
and I think that is fair. That is fair value for what you're getting. I mean,
Okay.
he has had whenever he's been on the field, he's been good. He's been what you want out of him. He has had the injury concerns, but those have been freak injuries, not an ACL,
Right.
not you know, none of the big injuries that have happened to him. He's had these freak injuries that has kind of taken him down. But I would say again, for what 90%, rushing share, that Joe Burrow slinging the ball, that they're going to be in the red zone. He's going to be able to get touches in the red zone. You can't find that much places these days.
I agree. Joe Mixon as a RB2 is perfect.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you can live with him as an RB1 too, but you have to build your team. You have to build your team accordingly.
To build a better team.
This one.
There's just some players who I will never have, and Joe Mixon, unfortunately, seems to be one of those.
Well, all right.
So nobody has any respect for Thaddeus Moss?
Who?
Thaddeus Moss.
Oh my goodness. Is that where he is right now?
Yeah.
He's on the Bengals? I had no idea.
That's Randy Moss, right?
That's sad. Yeah. That's sad, man. When I saw him coming into the league, I thought,
I thought he would have made a bigger
it would be
splash.
cool to have another Moss, doing Moss things, but Randy Moss, he is not.
No, he's not.
Not at all.
Yeah, no. As I said, the tight end pool that they have there is pretty much. Yeah.
These are streamers at best.
At the very best, but you don't want to rely on any of them. I don't think we really spoke about Joe Burrow, but I don't think we need to go into too much detail.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. Like, I think the future is bright for him. I
think he'll take a step forward this year.
As
long as they could keep him upright. Yeah.
Yeah. Once they could protect him, future is bright.
Mm-hmm.
He definitely surprised me. I will say that.
Yeah. I think he's definitely an NFL player.
I thought
he's not.
I thought his one good year at LSU was a fluke.
Yeah.
But he seems to be the real deal.
No, I think he's the real deal. And
they surrounded him with weapons. They went out and they got some boys for him.
Mm-hmm.
So
they ain't get him, they didn't get him Penny Sewell, but it's so hopefully he can overcome.
Yeah, hopefully.
But all right, guys, we made it through. This AFC North discussion, debate, whatever you want to call it. I won. Moving right along.
You could have it. You could have it tonight.
Moving right along, guys. Thank you for joining us once again. As we go through all of the divisions, we're going to be doing this for the next couple of weeks. And thank you guys for tuning in and just being a part of it. But yeah, we want to thank everyone for tuning in to this episode of the Couch Champions Fantasy Football Podcast.
Whoop, whoop.
Thank you for everyone that has been watching so far. Please remember to follow us on all the social medias at Couch Champions, on Twitter at Champions Couch. The Facebook channel is Couch Champions Fantasy Football Podcast, but I'm sure if you just type in Couch Champions, you'll find us. Very unique name.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Just a note for iTunes podcast. I know the wording just changed from subscribing to following. So feel free to follow
us.
We're gonna set up the subscription later because I think that iTunes just made a change in their subscription thing, so now you can actually pay for a podcast if you want.
Okay.
But
no pressure.
No pressure, guys. No pressure. But hey, we broke. Thank you. Thank you guys again for everything, and look forward to us next week.